Hello and welcome back to the Air Armoury. I'm JRH and today I'm doing a book review on Know Your Sheridan Rifles and Pistols by Ronald Elbe. Very briefly, before we get into the substantive content of this book on Sheridan guns, a little bit of background. It was written by Ronald Elbe, or Elbe, who is, or at least was at the time of publication, a small arms engineer at the Rock Island Arsenal in Illinois. And he is a lifelong shooter and hunter with a passion for Sheridan guns. Now, this book was first published in 1993 and this is a first edition. Now, I'm not sure if there were any later editions or reprints, but I can't find any obvious references to it being reprinted. It was published by Blacksmith Corporation Publishers, who seem to be a relatively small-scale American-based publisher, and from what I've read it looks like they went out of business in the early 2000s. Now, I can't find a huge amount of other titles by them, but they largely seem to publish firearms books, including others in the Know Your series, albeit by other authors, including Know Your M1 Garand Rifles and Know Your Czechoslovakian Pistols. So, let's take a closer look at Know Your Sheridan Rifles and Pistols by Ronald Elbe. It's not a very big book, both in terms of length and physical size. So it's a paperback, measuring 23 centimeters tall and 15.5 centimeters wide, and it's just half a centimeter thick, and that is because this is only 80 pages long, which isn't a huge amount for a reference book, and those pages are taken up with a mixture of text, photos and reproductions of original adverts. Now, the photos serve their purpose, but they are all in black and white and aren't the best quality. Now, the book covers just about all Sheridan air rifles and rimfire pistols and accessories, from the first gun, the Model A, all the way up to the publication of the book in 1993. Now, the book basically goes straight into the Model A. There's very little in the way of introduction or background to the company, and the first two guns have next to nothing actually on them, so I think you'd be a bit disappointed if you'd bought the book just to learn about those guns. But what you do get for most guns in the book are at least the technical specifications, a brief bit of information about it, and an original advert. But as to be expected for the more popular guns such as the C series, you get a lot more information and photos. Now, after all of the rifles and pistols have been covered, there is then a chapter on accessories such as pellets and sights, which is useful, followed by a chapter on performance testing data, which I guess is interesting if you're into that kind of thing. The whole last quarter of the book is dedicated to appendices, which I think are actually some of the most interesting parts of the book, featuring reproductions of the original owner's manuals and parts diagrams. Now, the layout is good enough, having a chapter for each gun, albeit just 2 pages long in some cases, and they're in chronological order, but I do think the book is divided up a bit too much. So for just an 80-page book, it includes 10 chapters, an addendum and 6 appendices. Now, I think the book would have flowed slightly better if things like the appendices on serial numbers or owner's manuals have been included in the chapters on the relevant guns, as I think you have to jump around the book quite a bit just to find the information you want about a particular gun. I don't know anything about the author Ronald Elbe other than what it says about him in the back of the book here. Now, although he has worked in the firearms industry and is obviously a collector of Sheridan guns, reading the book I very much get the sense that he's maybe an individual enthusiast rather than being an expert historian or writer. I get the impression he's just taken all the information he has available from an extensive collection of guns and just written it all down. Now I'm aware that probably comes across as a bit mean, but don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to belittle him. This book is a valuable resource and I'm very thankful to him for compiling the information and writing the book, and as a Sheridan owner myself, it has been invaluable for me in learning more about my silver streak here. He has of course done research as well, and it does state that he visited the Sheridan factory, and some of the information that feels like it's missing might just not have been available anywhere, including in the factory records. Overall, I'd say this is definitely the best book on Sheridan guns that I've come across, but whilst it is a good book, it's not a great book. For a subject on such a specific subject, I just don't think it goes into anywhere near enough detail. Now I'm not sure what the recommended retail price would have been when this was new. Given the size of it and the quality of the printing, I'm guessing not a huge amount, and I'm sure it would have been worth it, but given that this is now out of print, you're limited to the second-hand market and they're not readily available and they are not cheap. This copy came from Italy and I won't even tell you how much I paid for it. Just a quick look online before making the video, I can only find copies for sale in America, with the absolute cheapest being $75, but with lots of them over $100. And as good as the book is, it's just not worth that kind of money. I'd recommend trying to borrow it from a library or something. If you do want to track down a copy for yourself though, I'll put the ISBN in the description below in case it helps. Right, just a quick update. This book has been out of print for 25 years or so, but then in the time between me making this video and uploading it, they've actually released a second edition in December 2018. Now I haven't got a copy of that myself yet, so I don't know if my gripes with the first one have been resolved, but it is a new edition, not just a reprint, and apparently it has a lot more information in it, and it now runs to 174 pages, which is more than double the length of the first one. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, the publisher of the first edition, Blacksmith Corporation, have actually gone out of business, so it looks like this second edition is independently published. At the time of making this video, it's readily available new for around £12, and it doesn't yet seem to have had an impact on the price of a second-hand first edition, but I suspect that not many people want to spend a load of money on one of those when they can get a new, more up-to-date version for a fraction of the cost. So thanks for watching. I hope you found the video interesting. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe to the Air Armoury, and until next time, keep your arms in the air.